Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again, special people, to another super episode of InAndOut with Rubbertainer, a podcast where we go in, we go out, we talk about it all. Welcome, special people. Thank you very much. Want to first of all say, let me quickly say that thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and also staying subscribed and turning on your notification button. We see all the comments, we see all the constructive criticism, we see all the drags, and we appreciate it all. Thank you so very much. You guys are the reason why we are here. Thank you for the right energy that you're giving to me and my crew right here to be able to deliver to you the exact things that we've promised you. Thank you so very much. Obrigado. Welcome once again. This is episode 5, and guess what? I am Africa's number one ring announcer, Rubbertainer. Yes, that's me, Emmanuel Fajute. I'm still your host for InAndOut with Rubbertainer, a podcast that will promise you that we go in, we go out, we talk about it. We talk about sport, we talk about entertainment, we talk about reality, we talk about thought-provoking topics. Everything worth talking about is what we discuss here. And so far, you bear us witness that from the episode 1, 2, 3, 4, and now 5, we have not given you anything less of expectation. So thank you, beautiful people, and welcome once again. We're reaching you live from our Lagos studio, Lagos, Nigeria. Wherever you are, drop your flag. Let's see, or rather, let me know where you are listening or watching from. And guess what? Most importantly, we are now on Spotify. You can also catch us on Spotify and YouTube. You can catch us on Facebook, all social media platforms. So please do yourself the favor by following us up on across all board. Welcome once again. So over the weekend, something unique, something superb happened in the sport industry. There were so many activities over the weekend in the sport industry, and one, the Nigerian Falcons, the Nigerian female football team, went to Morocco and for the Women African Cup of Nations, and indeed they became the champion of Africa for the 10th time. 10th. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 times. And some of the Ghanaians couldn't see this coming, and it is what it is. Congratulations to the Super Falcons. And also in the boxing industry, Clara Shields, the GOAT, the female GOAT, also had a victory in our fight, and she was able to sell out. A great personality she is, and she was able to sell out the arena. Lots and lots of audiences, and I say congratulations to you, Clara Shields, from all of us at InAndOut with Rubbertainer. And we see what you're doing for the female boxing industry, and once again we say a big congratulations to you. And then let's hit it straight up. We brought you something sweet. We brought you something exceptional, something you will like. The last time we spoke about the Gen Zs versus the Gen X when it comes to hard work versus soft life, and we saw the comments. Some people, the comment cracked me up. There was one that still sticked in my head. She was like, I would love to hustle like a Gen X and have a soft life like a Gen Z. So you are neither here or there. But today on episode 5, we will be discussing something exceptional, or rather, it's like me in my own zone, thinking out loud. That is what this episode looked like. Maybe some of the Gen Zs can put me up to speed on this topic. So let me drop the bomb. Love. Which generation experienced true, genuine love the most? Is it the Gen X or the Gen Z? Unfortunately, as much as I'm going to try and make sure that I'm balanced and not biased, I will speak for the generation that I experienced, which is Gen X and the millennials. So I will speak categorically on it. And Gen Zs can put me up to speed, like I rightly said, in respect to what love is to them. So I will be giving you guys gist of what love used to be back then. Back then, we all know that you don't just there are things called love at first sight back then, not lust at first sight. Love at first sight back then. And you will bear me witness that back then, when you say you love somebody, it's not coming from the point of a place of it's not just coming from the tongue. It's coming from deep down. Before you can pronounce the word love, the word love back then was heavy. And why was it heavy? Back then, how do we even get to meet ourselves before we begin to talk about love? There was no telephone. There was Nitel. Yeah, if you don't know what Nitel is, there was Nitel. That was the telecommunication. So, and in a whole street, maybe 2 houses, we have Nitel. So it's that expensive. So you can't even have a girlfriend you want to be calling over the phone. So guess what? How do we meet? We meet in religious centers, maybe churches or mosques. We meet ourselves in schools. We meet ourselves in the hood. There was nothing like a hand phone that you pick and you hold around. Phone recently came during the era of His Excellency former President Olusegun Obasanjo. That was when phone nearly became a thing. And even when phone came, SIM card was extremely expensive back then. You buy SIM card for like 65,000. Where do you want to get 65k back then? So we always meet ourselves maybe in the church, mosque, or school, or somewhere. Now there were some unwritten laws back then that guides dating and relationship. So there weren't too many distractions when it comes to meeting people. For instance, if I'm coming to see you, even as my friend, as a guy, there was no too much distraction. Television existed, but TV doesn't start program unless it is 4 p.m. in the evening. So imagine you have gone to your friend's house and they don't have a video player. What are you guys going to watch? So you guys will definitely have to create things you play around. And that increased the level of bonding in the era of Gen X and millennials. So when a millennial tells you, or a Gen X tells you I love you, it's not just coming from the mouth back then. Because if you're going to compare the love that we really experienced then to now, it's like I can't even place it side by side. It's like it's a taboo for me to place love back then to what it is now. Back then we had the attention span back then was very, 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 very high, because there was nothing that is going to distract you from whoever you are with. And there were some unwritten laws on how you can even get a relationship. First and foremost, as a guy, I'll speak from the angle of a guy. As a guy back then, you must know all the latest songs. And when I mean latest songs, back then there was no internet for you to go and browse songs. There was no live streaming. There was no streaming of songs on Spotify, or no. There was no lyrics on Google. No. Back then what we had were lyrics books. Paper. You buy them and you read those books. You learn the lyrics. And this is how you learn the lyrics. You take your radio, put the cassette, play maybe Boys to Men, maybe Westlife. You learn those lyrics with books, you know. Let's say every night in my dream. You play it on the every night, you pause it. Every night in my dream. You write it down. That is for those that cannot afford to buy lyrics books. You write it down, you follow it word for word. That was how you learn the lyrics. Now, I want you to understand that it's an intentional process, because you are about to kind of like, you're about to impress your babe. And to impress babe back then, now work, serious work. You have to put in the work. So imagine you learn lyrics of songs back then. Current affairs are things, these are some of the things you need to have in your arsenal before you can even approach a babe. You must have good command of English. You must have good sense of humor. you must be up to speed when it comes to current affairs, because back then our ladies then knows, they have idea of fervently everything, because everybody reads back then. So your level of intelligence also is another added advantage for you. So imagine, because you want to woo a lady, you first of all start listening to songs. You ask a friend what is her favorite song. You see the intentionality. Now you are intentional about that. The friends, maybe they like you, they give you the best songs. You go and learn that song, and then that is what you will use to now write love letter to her. You write the love letter, infusing some of those lyrics in it. I pick my pen to write to you. I hope this meets you right. If so, doxology. Mad, right? Yes, mad. You have to understand. Then you start putting in those lyrics, and then she will respond to you. Thank you for the wishes. I appreciate you. This and that. Yada, yada, yada. And then you move from writing love letters to first meeting physically. She's not coming alone, of course. She's coming with her friend. And then you're going with your guys. Your guys will stand here. Our friends will stand there. Both of you will stand by the corner and have that conversation. So both of you will stand by the corner. You have that conversation. She will ask you questions. What are your plans? What do you intend to do in future? What's your belief when it comes to having children? What are your family oriented? Different questions. And then eventually, if she says yes to you, the highest you can get that day is a handshake. That's all. And then you leave. Now, can you see the process? It takes an intentional person to learn lyrics. Then you start writing letters to meeting her for the very first time, one-on-one, for the purpose that you want to ask her out. And guess what? While you are going to ask her out, your guys must have prepped you up with some sweet words that you're going to tell her. You tell her words, you compare her to roses, you compare her not saying yes. You say, babe, if you don't say yes to me, it's like a crocodile kissing my Those were crazy days. And sometimes when I sit down and reminisce over those days, I smile. I smile, and I wish that this generation can just have a little experience of what it was like. And then when you are done with that, the next step is your first date. Your first date, if you are capable, you take her to an eatery. There is a popular eatery back then in Nigeria that was trending. You take her to the eatery. You guys sit down, have one meat pie and one soft drink each, and then you start to talk more, getting to know each other more. There was no phone to press to distract you, remember. And guess what? How do you even communicate with her? You tell her, okay, we've seen today. When are we seeing next? She tells you next week Wednesday. Next week Wednesday when? 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock is 3 o'clock. As a guy, you will be there by 2:30. Intentionality. And then all of these things that you are doing, remember, you have not even gotten a hug. You have not gotten a hug. You have not even gotten past handshake. Now, after that first date, she's still prepping and watching you out. Before you get your first kiss can take a year. And all through this process, you are still getting to know her the more. And your guys already know you have her as a babe. Our own friends already knows that you are the guy. So everybody knows what's happening. But guess what? Every now and then, when you guys come to sit, you have conversation on sport, you have conversation on music, you have conversation on farming, you have conversation on everything. Because why? There was no phone in between. There was no phone in the mix. And then you imagine you investing that quality time into something back then. So when people now eventually voice out the first I love you, it's really do mean I love you. Bear in mind that we have gigolos in every generation, even in our forefathers' generation. But guess what? The gigolo that we're talking about still go through the same long process. I don't know who formulated that process, but that was it. The gigolos will go through that same long process just to have a babe. Now, if a gigolo goes through that process, they get caught easily. Let me tell you why. Right now, you have telephones. Your babe calls you before coming down to your place. Some of those times, the moment a lady is suspecting that this guy is not really who he claims he is, she can decide to pay you a surprise visit, and perhaps you are in the house with another babe. You see, you lost her already. Now you think of the process you went through to get that babe. So it's a lot of process back then. And our belief back then was that some of us have even, you even go as far as both of you promising each other that don't worry, let's go to the university after leaving school, we'll work for 1 year, we'll get married. And guess what? Our vast majority of the people that have that plan actually came through with the plan. So they were genuine love back then. Now let me fast forward it to this current generation that we are in. Will I say there is no love in this generation? Yes, there is love in Gen Zs. They find love. You know, some of them even get attracted to each other, maybe based on, oh, the guy is painting his nails. I like the way he paints his nail. I like guys that paint nails. Blah, blah, blah. They get attracted to one another. Some get to meet in raves, but most importantly, vast majority of them meet on social media. They meet on Snap, they meet on Tinder. It's also about swiping up, swiping left, swiping up, swiping left, you know. And even when you ask a Gen Z out or a Gen Z asks you out, sometimes they don't even get to ask each other out. It's all about vibes. They are so big on vibes. Gen Z is big on vibe. Gen Z is big on mental health. Those two things are their go-to thing. Any time, any day is their go-to thing. They are big on vibes. They are big on their mental health. Now, a Gen Z can tell guy A, guy B, guy C, guy D, guy E, F, G that I love you without even meaning it. And the guys also, they know that this one does not mean it, so they are just vibing. They connect on different frequency and different levels. And the word I love you has been thrown around so much that it doesn't even carry weight. Even these days when newly wedded couple tell themselves they love you, deep down one we know that it's transactional. These days when people say I love you, it doesn't come from a place of intentionality. It's only coming from the point of transaction. And in this current generation, you hardly see, even when you go to the cinemas, you see two lovebirds in the cinemas holding their phone and pressing their phone while they are on a date. And guess what? The most shocking one that I heard and read about and saw is the fact that date is no longer what dates used to be. Back in the days of Gen X and millennials, when you're going out on a date with somebody, is an avenue for both parties to get to know each other very well. You guys talk about the things that you like, you talk about future, you sing songs together, you have your favorite song, you know, you have something to commune about, and it really increases the level of closeness in relationship. But these days it's a different ball game. In fact, these days now I hear that a girl is coming on a date with you. You have to pay for her hair, you have to pay for her makeup, you pay for her transport. She will be the one to pick the restaurant, expensive restaurant. She sit down, you order the meals, you start taking pictures and videos, and you know, and then when she leaves, you pay the Uber fee. If she feels your vibe, you can just be lucky on that first date. But if she doesn't really feel your vibe, or she still wants to, you know, kind of like prolong it with you, maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, and all. And this thing keeps me questioning my mentality. Like, it keeps me questioning my brain that, am I really hearing right? A date is not, it's not an employment. A date is not an employment. A date is meant to be two intentional adults coming together to know each other better. And a date doesn't have to necessarily be something beyond the ordinary. It's just find a space where both parties can. I know so many people will start insulting me in the comment section, but that is just the reality. A date is not employment. A date is not if you need someone to buy you a hair, buy you clothes, buy you that, get a job for that. It even reduces your value in the eyes of that young man. It reduces your value. If he was thinking of, okay, this is someone I think I can plan something, the moment you begin to build, no problem. He plays along in this Gen Z's matter. They just play along and vibe. And guess what? Gen Zs are not big on marriages. They don't want, vast majority of them don't want to even get married. They tell you, I don't want to bring a child even into this world because I feel like this world is filled with different type of stuff. I don't want to even bring any kid to come and face what I am facing. And then you ask them, what is it that you're facing? You say it's a whole lot. I can't explain it. So, dear Gen Zs, I need some of you to put me up to speed. What genuine love is to you. How do you know that someone genuinely loves you? At least I've spoken about Gen X. I've taken us down memory lane. And guess what? Back in the days when we were doing dating, Gen X, millennial settings, back then, you don't have the effrontery to even bring your girlfriend to your parents' place. Your mom or dad he or she will mess you up. You can't do that. And she cannot. Why will she even have the effrontery to even ask you to come into their house? Those that ask you to come into their house is either they want their dad and mom to look at you, their siblings to look at you and size you up and know whether you're a good person or not. And back then, it was all very simple and straightforward. Guess what? Even if you want to have sex back then, the relationship must have spanned over a while, a whole long time. And guess what? Even the very first night, you and your babe are privileged. You can't be privileged to even sleep out in secondary school. No. University days that's the moment you can now start bringing ladies to your hostel. And the very first night that both of you have the chance to sleep together, bro, sis, you can't just jump on her. It's a process also. Everything about Gen X and millennial is a process. And Gen Zs they are here to break all rules and protocols. And it's really working for them. And guess what? Here is how crazy it gets. Gen Zs in the next couple of 10, 15 years will also be wondering, this next generation that is ahead of us, where do these guys come from? Because every set principle, rules, morals, and whatever it is that is remaining of Gen Zs will be broken by the next generation. And they will be shocked to say, how on earth did we get here? That is exactly. I'm going to leave you with this final funny story. I am sure Gen Zs may not catch it up. Millennials and Gen X will understand this story. The first night you spend with your babe back then, university days. Guys, you will agree with me, you don't always sleep. You will not sleep. That very first night, you are not going to sleep. But you will pretend that you are sleeping. And then, to even try and... I don't know what our parents put in us back then. We were so timid. You can't, to even try and, you first of all put your hand on the lady's lap to see if she will move it. If she doesn't move it, you'll be like, well, I think I'm lucky. Then you now put your leg. If she moves the leg, that means you start all over again. And sometimes that process can go on and on for God knows how long. So it was all a process. Back then, before you can see a lady's underwear, it's like you are winning World Cup. But these days, we see the boobs all out. We see the cleavages everywhere. It's a good thing to admire. But most of the time, go and check people that guys end up with. Vast majority of guys, they don't always end up with those type of ladies. They know that those type of ladies are only good for aesthetics. Anyway, Gen Z is in the comment section. I need you to put me up to speed in respect to this. What is love for you as a Gen Z? What is love for you as Gen Zs? What do you see as love? What is the process of dating? How long does it take to have the first kiss? How long does it take to what are the things you discuss when you go out on dating? Let's learn, because you never can tell. No man is an island of knowledge. Anyway, until we meet again, ladies and gentlemen, drop your comments, drop your experiences, even Gen X and millennial. Drop your love experiences in the comment section. Let's hear them. Let's talk about it. We have to keep talking about these things so that people will know that it once existed, because the things you don't talk about, the things you don't constantly shed light on, are easily forgotten. That is the reason why we brought back this topic to discuss it. And let's continue the conversation in the comment section. And don't forget to like, comment, reshare, and subscribe, and also turn on your notification button. Until we meet again, I am still the Africa's #1 ring announcer. It's goodbye from me to you. Signing out on In and Out with Rubbertainer.